Welcome in to week 3. This week we're talking about what it means to equip our hands. The Bible has lots to say about how we use our hands. We're directed to worship by lifting our hands, to serve those around us with our hands, and to usher in the kingdom of God with our hands. Today we're going to look at Cultivate Food Rescue because they set a great example of how we should serve others with our hands. Cultivate partners with organizations in our area to save and rescue food and get that food to children who need it. So here with us today is Todd Zeltwanger of Cultivate Food Rescue. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Todd Zeltwanger. I am the Director of Fund Development at Cultivate Food Rescue in South Bend. And today I'm going to share with you a little bit about how Cultivate got started and what we've been able to accomplish and where we look to go into the future. So Cultivate began about 6 years ago when our two co-founders, Jim and Randy, saw a need to improve the quality of the weekend meal programs in the area school systems. Improve the nutritional content mainly because a lot of the programs are with non-perishable foods, the cans, the bags, the boxes that are not maybe as nutritional as other food would be. So the idea was there's a lot of perishable food that is thrown away unnecessarily. So if we could figure out a way to rescue that food from going into a landfill, bringing it back to one main facility, then using volunteers to put together meals that would then be frozen. So they created a 3-compartment tray, TV dinner, if you will, composed of a protein, a vegetable, and a starch, and then they're frozen and now distributed to these students on weekends. It's a microwavable meal that's a lot more nutritious, and it's also helping to reduce food waste. So God's hand was clearly evident as this whole thing began July of 17. The first couple of years were fairly crude as we began. You know, really nobody had ever done this kind of thing in our area before. So we kind of moved along and started out slowly, but then we launched a pilot program with a school in South Bend to try this out. So we created these meals to give to 100 students, and it began in the spring of 2019. And so we launched a program in South Bend, and then a person there said, "Can you do the same in Elkhart?" So we said, "Well, yeah, let's try a smaller number, maybe 20 students, because we don't have a lot of food yet." What happened was when we launched the program in Elkhart, Channel 22 came over and did a story about the program being launched in March of 19, and so they put it out on the wire after it was aired on the news that night. And on April 3rd of 2019, that video went viral. And we started receiving emails, phone calls, text messages, all kinds of inquiries from all across the country. Even news shows like the Today Show and USA Today and the Washington Post all were reaching out to us about how we did this. And because we were using food from an existing school, repurposing that food and getting it back to the same school in a frozen meal format to give to those students. And for whatever reason, that was just intriguing, and it caught fire. And we just became, with 5 employees, just trying to do the right thing for the right reasons. It was like, wow, we're all of a sudden getting, I think our co-founder Jim was interviewed by the BBC. And so we were like, we didn't know what hit us, but we definitely saw that was God's hand of just making it, the awareness really increased during that whole time. And ever since then, it seemed like people are learning about us, and that really helped give us a boost that we weren't expecting. Another one I would share too, and there's been a lot of moments where his hand has definitely been on it, especially with donors. And we had an individual that is now leading our campaign, capital campaign, that basically met with our two co-founders back in the spring of 17 and heard about what they were doing and wanting to do. And he said, as he heard the story, he said, "I'm in this. I will give you a significant amount of money to help get this moving forward." And that was unexpected because they really were asking him for advice and they ended up getting money. And sometimes it happens that way. And then one final story I will share, and this is kind of where we're looking to go in the future, is to build a new cold storage facility. But there's an organization in Fort Wayne called the Tippmann Group who heard about what we were wanting to do, and they said, we will help guide you during this whole process, help you select the builder, give you direction, mistakes not to make, those kind of things. And they kind of came to us unexpectedly as well, and they've been a great partner financially. They've made a significant commitment to us as well for this campaign, and so you just know those things are not happening coincidentally. God is definitely has His hand and His imprint all on this organization, and we would not be where we are today, obviously, without Him and how He's using even folks at this church and other churches to come in and help us by volunteering and giving financially to us. And it's exciting to see it, and we look forward to what the future holds. Just a word of encouragement, I would say if you are out there today in the world and you see a need that no one seems to be really trying to meet, but it looks kind of risky to go out and try something to help meet that need. Verse in Scripture in Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And our co-founders that really took some risk in just launching this program and knowing that there was a need and not having all the answers to start out with, but they kept taking steps to move forward. And some things didn't work out, so we had to start over and then move ahead again. So I would say that if you feel God leading you in a direction that is you're a bit unsure of the steps to take, just take one and then see where that goes, and then take another one. You might go sideways a little bit, but then keep moving forward. We've been at this now 6 years, and the first year we rescued 50,000 pounds of food. And in our most recently completed fiscal year, about a month ago, we rescued 2 million pounds of food in 1 year. So to go from 50,000 to 2 million over 6 years, I mean, you can clearly see that steps were taken and needs were being met and more people joined. And it's growing to a point where now we have rescued, since we began, 4.5 million pounds of food that would have otherwise been thrown away and wasted. And so I would just encourage you to, talk to others that you feel something you want to try and you're just unsure. I mean, have people pray for you and then just begin to take those steps. God will keep that. He'll open those doors or He'll close it, and He might send you in a different direction. But don't be afraid to take that risk when you feel His prompting to lead you. Another verse to share with you is found in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 10. It says, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday. So I've shared that verse a lot with people when I speak to groups about how we got started and what we've been able to accomplish. And I think that's what we've done. We've poured ourselves out for the hungry. And there's a lot of hungry people in our community. You may not think that there are, but I've learned that there's various situations, and even today we're seeing a 40% increase in the visits to food pantries compared to 1 year ago. So there are people that are frequenting a pantry that never had to before for a variety of reasons. So it's just been nice to be able to help in meeting those needs by providing food to pantries as well as to students on weekends. And certainly our hands are important parts of our bodies that we're able to use to put these meals together. I mean, you think about the volunteer process if you've been there to do it. We couldn't do what we do without our hands because we're putting food into the trays and we're passing it down and getting those meals put together. That it's such an important piece. And then at the end of the day, we kind of maybe put our hands on each other and and encourage each other by the work that we've been able to do, and then it blesses other people. Bottom line is God's hand of blessing has been upon it, and I know He wants to use us in the future as we're living in days that are challenging, and I believe we're making a difference by reducing food waste. Our vision is no neighbor hungry, no food wasted. So 6 words, pretty easy to remember. And thanks to St. Mark Missionary Church, and certainly you've all been the hands and feet by coming in and volunteering as often as you have, and have given to us financially as well. Very grateful for you all, and look forward to growing our partnership in the future.
What an incredible story from Cultivate, and what a great example they have set for how to use our hands in service to others as we worship God. Now, as we wrap up today, I want to make you aware of 2 things. Here at St. Mark, we utilize 2 different assessments to help you understand where you're at on your spiritual journey with the Lord and how you can serve those around you. Our first assessment is the Spiritual Health Assessment through the Reveal Study. This will help you to see what your spiritual habits are with the Lord and how you might be able to take steps to further your relationship with Christ. The second assessment that we have is the SHAPE test. This will help you to see what areas that you're gifted in, what your passions are, and how you could align those in areas to serve in the church and with our ministry partners. Both of these assessments can be found on Right Now Media under the Equip tab. Once you've taken both of these assessments, we at St. Mark would love to help you find a place to serve, whether that be locally at St. Mark or with one of our ministry partners. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know. Along with that, we'd love to encourage you as a group to figure out what you might be able to do to serve together. In 1 Peter 4:10, it says this: "As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace." So take some time to consider as a group now. How are you going to use your hands in service to God?